Okay, hey, welcome in everybody to the In-Home Elderly Care, my YouTube channel here, where I'm talking about things in-home elderly care, specifically for the elderly. I usually do a intro and I give some background, but I'm going to start assuming that people have at least seen one video and heard a little bit of the background and try and get into whatever the question or topic is, because I want to have these videos in a way where they're 3 minutes, 5 minutes, they're shorter, banger style videos where people can look at them and get some quick value out of it. I've mentioned before, I don't want to have 30-minute videos for someone who might be considering or already doing in-home elderly care. So with that being said, I'm going to go to my slides, and I've got a question for the day. And today we're going to be talking about time commitment. So doing in-home elderly care and some expectations for time commitment. Let me lose my picture real quick so you can read that full question there. Stand by. There we go. Boom. Okay. This question reads, regarding time commitment, can I realistically dedicate the necessary time to provide consistent care without negatively impacting my work, family, or personal life? Okay, good question. And this is something that I've talked about before, with one of the things to consider when you're either looking at doing in-home elderly care for elderly, aged loved one, or whoever it might be. It's one of the things that you're going to want to look at with the time commitment, and if you one of the things you will vet to see if you are a proper candidate to do it is what I'm trying to get at. And in short, can you realistically dedicate the necessary time to provide consistent care? It's not going to be a black and white yes or no answer, because there are going to be times where it works out better than it doesn't. And remember, the idea that you want to keep going back to here from a time commitment standpoint or any other thing is you want to give the customer the best care possible, but just enough in order to do that. So some days it's going to be longer than others, of course, because situations and circumstances change. But generally speaking, you're wanting to do it like just enough. And there are going to be times where you probably can't, because no one can do this kind of thing perfectly, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you, quote, flat out don't have the time to dedicate to it. Again, it's more about the posturing of your heart and all of these intangibles that you're taking in, along with the tangibles, things like flat out looking at your time commitment. And this individual here talking about impacting their family and their personal life. Yeah, there's going to be some impact there. There just is. There's no way around it. There absolutely will be impact there, and it could be positive and or negative. Positive would be something like you or your family didn't really spend a lot of time around the customer. Now you have that opportunity to. So for me and my grandmother, man, I spent so much time with her, and I knew her on such a different level than just a grandparent-grandchild relationship. I mean, I knew Ruth and she knew me, and we just knew each other as individuals, and outside of this realm of like the hierarchy of grandmother, grandson, and we were always respectful to each other. So in that regard, a grandparent-grandchild relationship, that piece never changed. But you're a witness to things that you're not normally a witness to, and it's just a different fundamental relationship when you are caring for the individual. Something negative would be flat out, you're going to have to take time for them and make that time and live up to your commitments. If you're living with the customer, or if the customer is living with you, those are going to be the optimal ways to proceed forward, versus if the customer is living in some other place and then you're also having to dedicate time to travel to physically be there or physically do things for them. That's going to be even tougher. I mean, it's like if you have a car, I'm trying to make an analogy here. If you have a car, but you can only get gas at one gas station for your car because it uses some sort of special fuel. Well, now you're in a situation where you're having to plan everything that you do with the vehicle around where you're going to be able to access fuel for the vehicle. And you can just see the challenges with that. The same thing if the customer isn't already there. And that's the way I think it works most optimal, is the customer needs to be naturally integrated into your life and you into theirs, instead of this thing where they're still at a distance. It's just going to make things more challenging. And ultimately, over the course of care, it's going to come up and continue to grow and be a bigger issue, to have that. So, can you do it without it negatively impacting? I mean, the short answer is no. There's going to be some negative impact. I mean, it's like with anything else, there's risk and rewards. Can you do anything of significance without risking anything? Probably not. Someone might hit something in the comments that makes a really good point to the contrary. But generally speaking, no, you can't. That's just a part of what it is. If you make an investment into something, there's a chance that investment will go belly up. If there wasn't any risk, there wouldn't be any reward. So yeah, it's going to affect your family life. It's going to affect your personal life. And to a certain extent, it will be negative. And I think to the spirit of this question, it's asking about it being negative to the sense of phrasing it like, will it get to a point where it, quote, ruins my life? That's kind of what I'm thinking the spirit of this question is. And yeah, like it could, and how can you realistically dedicate the time necessary? Well, you need to map out your life and figure out where your time is already committed. If you've got small children or something else going on in your life, I mean, it doesn't have to be family like that. It could be your work, but you're a business owner and you have to dedicate 60 hours, 70 hours every work week. That's going to be incredibly difficult to sort out, and then on top of that, add on elderly care. So yeah, that might be a situation where you're getting in over your head, and it would impact your life to the point where it could, quote, ruin it, to the extent that expression is used in common vernacular. So yeah, I hope I brought some value and and shed some light on this question, and that's a really good way to, broadly speaking, think about this, is that, yeah, there's going to be some negative impacts. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to be a good provider or up to the challenge. And you'll see that start to play out. You'll definitely notice if you're not meeting the customer's needs. The customer's probably going to let you know as well, and then you'll it'll be obvious. But yeah, you don't want to either go into it already knowing that that's going to be something that you're not able to live up to, and you want to be able to adjust fire if you do find yourself in that situation. So the last slide is the question slide. So if you got questions, put them in the comments here. You know what? I saw that my comments are turned off. I'm going to turn them on after this. Or email me, Mario at the Alpha Italian. Give me your name and location, and I want to know who you are and where you are writing me from. So, all right, awesome. I will be back on again answering more questions about doing in-home elderly care. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you, everybody. Take care.